Hello crafty friends, welcome back to Jessie Kate Creates. In today's video we are making some more mini cards that are inspired by this gorgeous piece of pattern paper that I've had in my collection for a little bit now. I think I have 2 or 3 sheets of this, so it's time to start using it up. Given the time of year it is, I thought it would be fun to make some teacher appreciation cards, and I thought this was the perfect pattern for that. So I've already cut up one of these sheets. I did it off screen. I started working on the card and then I realized this would be a fun card to film. So I took this sheet, and this is, I don't see a name for this particular sheet, but you can see it is from American Crafts. I purchased it at Joann's. If I can find it, I will link it in the description box down below. But I went ahead and I cut that up into 3 by 3 squares, so I was able to get 16 from that piece of 12 by 12 paper. I didn't cut these perfectly, so you can see some of the squares are a perfect 3 by 3 and some are a little bit smaller, but they're all gonna look cute in the end. So I went ahead and cut those down, and then I went and y'all know I am a recovering sticker hoarder. So I went through my hoard of stickers to find something I thought would work well with this pattern paper for teacher themed cards or just educational staff in general. And I found these really cute little colored pencil stickers from Jolee's boutique. I picked these up a long time ago when Michaels was doing a mega clearance on their stickers. I did make a video on that, so I'll put it up here if you want to see that. So I saw these, I thought it was perfect, and I thought they'd go together really nicely. And the next thing I realized is for the sentiment on this card, I was going to need a landing space. I couldn't stamp it directly on this pattern paper because it is very busy. I really wasn't in the mood to sit down and die cut out shapes or anything like that. So instead I went to my mini card bin, which I'm going to share with you guys here. It's this little container right here. Sorry, I know this is an awkward angle, but this is where I keep a lot of basic supplies that I use when I'm creating mini cards. You can see in the front of this bin, I have all of these little scalloped edge squares. I use them for a different project. I have a bunch of these, so they go in here. I have some little card fronts that I've made myself using my hot foiling machine. I have card fronts that I've made from scraps of leftover stenciling projects. This particular stencil was the Colorful Life Designs, one of their mandala stencils. I will look up which one it was and I'll put the name of it in the description box. Some pre-cut, glittery 3 by 3 squares, some pre-scored and folded 3 by 3 card bases. And then at the very back of this bin, I have pre-scored card bases, but I haven't folded them down yet. You can see some of them, I've already stamped my logo on the back of the cards. Some of them I haven't, but they're ready to go, and I'm just going to use white card bases today. So yeah, this is my little mini card go-to bin for supplies. So since I didn't want to have to cut anything, I saw these scallop squares and I thought, perfect, they're ready to go, and they fit nicely onto the pattern paper. So things were starting to come together, and this was the point when it was time for me to start kind of figuring out the exact layout for my card. So these pencils are so adorable. I love the way they look, but because of the smiley faces, the orientation of it really only makes sense up and down. It doesn't make sense to turn it to the side. So I knew I needed to find a sentiment that would fit nicely in this kind of tiny little space. So I went through my stash and I ended up pulling out this Sentiment Sweet Thank You stamp set from the Greetery. I love this stamp set because it has so many thank you sentiments in different fonts. I love it. I use it for a lot of different projects, but a lot of the sentiments were didn't fit very well with the pencil. You can see a lot of them are just too long. But then I noticed this one on the side, this thanks for all you've done. That's a stacked vertical sentiment. And I thought that fit perfectly with the pencil. So I went ahead and I popped that sentiment into my stamp positioning tool, and I stamped it down once so I could test it and figure out if I actually liked this setup. And I decided I did. I think it looks super cute. Look at that. Adorable. I thought that was really cute. Once I had the layout figured out, then it was time to really get into the process of batch creating the cards, and that's basically where I am now. So one thing I did notice when I came up with this layout for the card, I love this pattern paper, but a lot of it is being covered up by the white backer piece I'm using. So I decided I'm gonna save what I can of this paper. Now I was too lazy. The thing I think that would have made the most sense would be to take a square die and cut a bunch of them out. But that, I feel like running my die cut machine 16 times. That was, we're not doing that today. So instead, I opted for a circle punch. Now, if you have a square punch, you could use that. All I have is this 2-inch. This is the biggest circle punch I have, so I figured this is what I would use. And I just went ahead and cut the center out of this pattern paper. And now I can use it on another project, even like that. Looks great. So that's what I'm gonna do next, is go through all of my squares and just cut out these circles. Now, I'm not gonna lie, it is cutting it really close. You see it's like just at the edge of that circle, but I think I can get away with it. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do. Okay, so now that I've punched the holes out of all the pieces, I'm gonna focus on making or adding the sentiment to all of these. So this will go super fast and super easy because I already have it in my stamp positioner. So all I have to do with these is just stamp them down. Now it could be fun if you wanted to be really fancy. You could like stamp down the sentiment in different colors to match whatever your focal image is going to be. I'm not doing that though. I'm keeping it simple. So I'm going to stamp all of these with Versa Fine Onyx Black pigment ink. So I get a nice crisp sentiment. So I'm just going to stamp out 16 of these. Well, I should probably stamp out like 17 or 18, just so I have extras just in case. Now something some of you may noticed is I have 16 pieces of pattern paper cut down, but I only have 12 images. But I'm convinced I have other stickers in my stash that I can use, that I can swap in place of those. I have so many stickers that I just need to use up that there's gotta be something there that I can use. So I'll use these 12 and then I'll look through my stash again and see if I have other stickers I can use. Okay, so now that I've gone ahead and stamped out all of these, the next step is to ready my card bases. So these are 6 inches by 3 inches and they're scored in the middle at 3 inches. So that when I fold them, I get a 3 by 3 inch card base. These are pre-cut. I love to have card bases on hand and ready to go so that when I'm working on a project, I don't have to stop to make the card bases. I think it just helps with the flow a little bit more for me personally and the way I like to create. I'm just going to keep scoring these and then I'll come back once that's done. All right, so all my bases are ready to go now. So now it's just, the next step is going to be gluing down all of the paper. So first I'll glue down the paper and then I will go back and add our little panels with our sentiment on it. I am just going to use some liquid glue because it's what's nearby. And yeah, but you can use whatever you prefer. I will say though, this is a thinner paper, so I'm trying not to add too much glue, and I'm also trying to make sure I get the corners down pretty well. Boom. There we go. So just gonna go through and batch this out, and I'll see you guys back in a second. All the backgrounds have been glued down, so now I'm just gonna glue these on top. If you wanted to, you could pop these up. I'm not, just because these are pretty thick, so I don't need both layers to be super thick, so I'm just gonna glue these down flat. I'm gluing these on just straight down, but I guess if you wanted to glue these on at an angle, you totally could. Just do whatever floats your boat, do whatever makes your little creative brain happy. You don't gotta do exactly what I do. All right, so I'm gonna finish doing these, and then I will come back when we're done to move on to adding our little colored pencil embellishment. Okay, so all of these are glued on, and now it's time to add our embellishments. Now, these come with foam tape on the back of them. I peeled the foam tape off when I was making the test design, but it was really difficult and it took a lot of time. So for the rest of these, I think I'm just gonna leave the foam tape on just to speed it up. But the foam tape on the back of these is never super sticky, so I am gonna use my glue with it still just to add these on. And I'm not doing anything fancy here. I'm just gluing it on at a little bit of an angle, because if I tried to do it perfectly straight, it probably wouldn't be. And so instead of worrying about getting it straight, if I put it on at an angle, then it's intentionally crooked and it looks like it's meant to be that way because it is. And so I don't have to worry about the whole, is it straight, is it not straight? Ta-da. Oh, that's adorable. Oh my gosh. Yeah, these are super duper cute. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add these onto all of the cards real quick. Okay, so I have gone ahead and added the pencils onto all the cards, and I think these look amazing. I am so happy with how these turned out. I mean, look at this. It is so cute. I'm in love with these. Yeah, really happy with how this project turned out. The only thing I still need to do with these cards is add a liner to the inside. You don't need a liner if you're using a white card base, but personally, I just like the way it feels to have a liner in my cards. I know it's kind of strange, but it's just what I like, so that's what I like to do. So I will at some point go in and add the liners and also stamp my logo on the back of these cards. But yeah, that's how these turned out. Now, I'm gonna keep going because I still have these 4. I ran out of the pencils, but I still have these 4 cards. So I went to my stash and I looked for more items that could be teacher themed, and I found a partially used pack of stickers from Michaels. I found these. I don't know if these are still in stock or not. These are old. I've had them in my stash for a long time, but you can see they're just super tiny little glossy stickers. Now, they are much smaller than the ones on the card for comparison, and they're not dimensional like the ones on the cards are. So I think what I'm going to do with these ones, instead of just putting one on each card, I think the better move would be to use 2. Oh, that's kind of cute. Maybe do something like that. That's great, because then I can use up more of my sticker stash and I get to finish off these cards. So I think that's what I'm gonna go ahead and do. And guys, I want you to keep in mind, you absolutely do not need all of the same supplies I have to do this. Grab the supplies you already have in your stash. You probably have pattern paper in your stash. You probably have some sort of stickers or ephemera in your stash, or you have stamps that you could use to make your own. I really don't want you guys to see these videos and feel like, oh no, I need to go out and buy these things to make these types of cards. Because when I'm making these cards, my goal is to use up the things I already have in my stash. And so that's what I want you to take away from these videos, is like, oh, well, I have something similar. I could do something similar with what I already have. I don't want you to feel like you need to go out and purchase something to make these cards. I mean, now if you want to and it's in your craft budget, sure, go for it. But I know a lot of us try to be, we try to save money when we're crafting. And I think leaning into the supplies you already have is a great way to do that. All right, so there we have it, friends. From 1 piece of pattern paper and 2 packs of stickers, we made 16 super fun mini cards. I'll give you a close-up of each one. So you can see here, same basic design, I just swapped out to use advantage of the supplies I already had in my stash. I hope you guys enjoy these cards. I really hope they do give you some inspiration for how to use the items you already have in your stash, especially if you're a sticker hoarder like me. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That really helps my channel to grow. And if you want to see all of the videos I have coming up on my channel, be sure to subscribe. And if you ring the bell button, you'll get notified when I post new videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.